Look, y'all, it is my final prediction show here on Locked On Golden Gophers, and you know we had to bring your boy Tristyn Spann-Ford. We are talking Wisconsin today.
You are Locked On Golden Gophers, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, what up? You're listening to Locked On Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Kane Rob, host of the podcast, former collegiate football video coordinator and recruiting assistant, here to talk Golden Gophers with you each and every day of the week, Monday through Friday. And we are joined by your boy Tristyn Spann-Ford. And Tristyn, I just got to say, man, you know I'm leaving Locked On. I know I'm leaving Locked On. A lot of listeners know I'm leaving Locked On, but I'm going to miss that intro beat. Like, it's pretty filthy. I'm not going to lie to you.
I agree. It feels good. It's like I would equate it to we're in the tunnel waiting for PJ too.
Yep.
Because I'm just in the background, like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Get my takes ready.
I'm usually like, oh, let's go. All right, y'all. But yes, this is our final show here with Locked On Golden Gophers. It's been one heck of a time. Hopefully you'll keep on subscribing to the podcast and they find another great host for you to talk Gophers daily. But we ain't going nowhere. Tristyn and I are continuing to create Gophers content. We're just going to do it at a once a week capacity instead of your boy going 4 or 5 days a week and Tristyn hopping on. So we're going to do once a week. We just came up with the name. We hope you like it. It's going to be the Gopher Broke podcast. So be sure to subscribe over on YouTube. We got the channel cooking. You can find me at Gophers Kane Rob on Twitter, and I'll be sure to post over there. But this is Locked On Golden Gophers, and that's what we're focusing on here today. So just a quick shout, but let's get to the main goodness for the everydayers, the Locked On Golden Gopher listeners. And so we're going to talk about predictions for the Wisconsin versus Minnesota game at Madison. Now, look, we got to talk about the Penn State game. We got to reflect on that a little bit. It's been a little bit since we've talked with Tristyn just last week, but you were all the way back in, Tristyn. You were ready to go. You were calling a dub, and I was very doubtful. I was very pessimistic. I was very like, oh, we might get throttled. And they almost gave you massive bragging rights, but ultimately they fell in a close one. How are you feeling after that game?
I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel bad. I mean, like, that's what I was thinking about it too. Like, we hit that dead center of what could have happened as far as outcomes, where I thought we would win. You thought we would get killed. And wow, we put up a fight. They played really well. I mean, it's a good team. Number 4 ranked. I mean, I don't think it wasn't going to put us in the college football playoffs. And I mean, we showed some grit. We showed some toughness. I was not mad at all. Still not mad.
Yeah, I got to clap on a couple comments on one of the YouTube shows that we had for the preparation for the Penn State game, because there were some Penn State fans hopping in there just like, yeah, the Gophers have no chance. You haven't played anyone. You just lost to Rutgers, blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, so you were saying, like, you feel good? I mean, y'all won by 1. Congratulations. But remember how you said we were whack? So what happened? What are we whack, or are y'all whack, or what's going on? Like,
they're acting like they have Georgia's schedule. Like, this is not like who did you play? You got Ohio State. That's it,
right? Oh, Ohio State, and you took the L. So whatever. Yeah. Anyways, on from Penn State. Actually, we do need to talk about a couple things with the Penn State game. What did you think about the Ariante Ursery play call? 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line, and your best play that you're going to draw up is a pass play to your left tackle. Bro, what are we doing here? Like, that was our best option. That whole drive, Daniel Jackson was cooking. I'm thinking he had 3-4 receptions, couple first downs, different routes, zigs across the middle, and they're like, nah, cook it up for Ariante Ursery. Bro, what are we doing?
Honestly, and it comes just a week after I just gave PJ flowers for how much better the play calling has been. Look, it's fun. It's fun. And I don't hate it in almost any other circumstance against any, like, I mean, I guess it's against Penn State. You pull up the stops. That's when you're running fake plays. You're getting cute with it.
Line?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's run a fake punt on 4th down, midfield where it's kind of questionable. That's the type of trickery you want. But on the 8-yard line, there's other plays.
Like we had our play, we had the flea flicker for the touchdown. Take your dub. You don't gotta keep on trying them. Dub. Be happy with that one win. Don't keep going. Like, it's so frustrating. And then to top it all off, PJ kicks the field goal. We're down 4. We kick a field goal. We go down by 1. 5 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. I'm like, bro, why are we why are we kicking the field goal? We should have went for it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna trust PJ. PJ's been doing this. He did it a couple times this year, and they get the stop on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I'm like, okay, PJ.
Yep. Trust your defense. Trust your defense.
Trust the defense. Trust the defense. And they all got relaxed. They all was like, oh, yes, we did it. We're getting the ball back. And a fake punt for 32 yards. Bro, my soul was shattered. I left my body and I was out of body, ticked, crying. Every emotion you felt, it was all there. How were you feeling after the fake punt?
It was brutal. It was brutal. And at that point, I was leaving Thanksgiving. I made my wife drive us home so I could watch the game on my phone. So I wasn't helping the driving at all. I'm locked in, glued in, and it was tough. It's so tough. Like, I don't know. It's so Minnesota. Like, things go so well and it feels great. And then it's a dagger. Something happens where it's either one way or the other too. Like, we never just beat anyone good. It's either we come up with a pick on the last play to seal the game, or it's devastation going the other way. It's never in the middle, and that's just how it is.
Bro, you hit it. You had a straight bar on that when you said that's so Minnesota. Like, forget That's So Raven. We need a TV show. That's so Minnesota. Gophers fans, Vikings fans, all of them can tell you how it feels, but that's so Minnesota. But we're going to move on to the Wisconsin game. You will be hearing this on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. That means the Wisconsin game is going to be tomorrow on Black Friday. Friday football. I like the feeling of it, but also feels a little bit weird to have the Axe game on a Friday. But our eyes are moving to Wisconsin. ESPN has this game listed as a 50-50. They have Gophers 49.5% win percentage and the Badgers at a 50.5% win percentage. Now, Wisconsin is currently on a 4-game losing streak. They had a big loss to Penn State, a big loss to Iowa, and then they had a 3-point loss to number 1 Oregon. And then they got blown out, beat the brakes off by Nebraska. So super close loss against Oregon, 3 blowouts against the 3 others. But the Oregon game shows you can't count Wisconsin out fully in this matchup. And then you look at how it played out with the Gophers and with the Wisconsin in these last couple of weeks. It teed up exactly like we were saying in last prediction show, where Wisconsin has their 22-year-long bowl streak on the line. Minnesota can absolutely snatch souls, break hearts this weekend. And how are you feeling with all of that pressure for both sides in this matchup?
I'm very confident. First of all, I think I'm watching both teams. We are way better than Wisconsin. Wisconsin is not very good this year. I think their fans know they're just not that good this year. But with that being said, it's Wisconsin. And it's always going to be a dogfight, no matter what. No matter how bad either team is, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to come down to it. It's going to be cold. It's everything you want for the Axe game. And so I think even playing in Camp Randall is tough. It's a tough environment for any team, whether we're good or bad. So I do want to lose myself in the overconfidence. And by the end of the show, I'm sure I'll be there. But I still always in the back of my head think, okay, it's Wisconsin. This is a classic Big Ten matchup. Who knows what could happen? But I really do think that Wisconsin is just it's just not their year. This is just not their year.
They're just not good.
Yeah, it's just not it.
They're going to find a way to clip this, run it back, and say, look at these fools if they beat the brakes off of us. So, Gophers, please do not let me down. Don't let my last show be talking trash against the Wisconsin Badgers, and then all of a sudden they're able to clip me for the rest of eternity. Please don't let that happen. But I do want to ask you, are you concerned that the bowl streak being on the line potentially fires their team up a little bit more, gives them extra motivation in this matchup?
They have all the I don't know what you'd call it. They have all the motivation.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Nebraska. First of all, they stormed the field. That had to suck. I know they played jump around. That had to suck. But I mean, that does happen to Wisconsin every time they lose. People just love to do that. And they are going to be motivated to get back into a bowl game. That's like they're still going to have pride. They're not just going to come out and take a line down. So
I mean, nobody wants to be that team. You don't want to be that person that. Oh yeah, we had 22 years straight of this, and I was on that squad. I was on the one that ruined it all. Like you don't want to be that. So I feel like they're going to come crazy hard this weekend.
They are due for a win. And we are getting them at a bad time. But I also think that we didn't lose by Penn State by enough to come out flat. So
yeah. All right. I feel that. Well, we're going to jump into the predictions for this game. That's what everybody taps in for anyway. We're going to do that coming up next. First, we need to talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel because FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and they've got you covered with some of the best. And you can take advantage if you are a brand new customer and bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And so I believe the last time I looked at this line, it was almost a 1.5 point in favor of Wisconsin, but that's basically a coin flip when you're talking about it's an on the road game. So everybody is on the edge of their seats for this one. If you think you know how it's going to play out, then go place a $5 bet. And if you win, you'll get $150 in bonus bets. On top of that, FanDuel Sportsbook gives you everything you need to place live bets all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you can place your bets. So go to FanDuel.com and join today. Again, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Locked On and the NFL. All right, Gopher fans, this prediction streak, your boy is taking the lead. I have a 1-week lead. This is Tristyn's last chance to tie it up. And then it might be all the marbles for the bowl game. That could be huge. I like that potential, but I'm still hoping I close you out here this week. So we're going to do our predictions like we do each and every week. So the first one is going to be, do the Gophers get a turnover this week? Yes or no? And if so, who?
Yes, sir. And it is an interception by the boy Coy.
The boy Coy. I like it. All right. I am also going to say yes. I put an interception and I put in parentheses probably 2. And then I am going to say Ethan Robinson. I feel like this dude has just been on the verge so many times. I think he got one against Rutgers. He almost had 2 against Rutgers. And I think he's ready to get another one in his final game, the big time rivalry matchup. So I've got Ethan Robinson with a pick. All right. You got the point for this one last time. We're running it back again. Will Daniel Jackson break 100 yards receiving? Now, I said yes. You said no. He had 90 yards, so it was right on the verge last week. What do you got this week?
I think he does this week. It's Wisconsin. I think we're going to get the best out of everyone. And I think we're going to see Max blow up this week. I think he's going to feel the energy in his first Axe game. It's going to be important.
I'm a little bit more tentative. I'm going to say no, and it's only because I dove into these Wisconsin defensive numbers, and look, their defensive numbers are terrible. They're like 91st in the run game. They're like 114th in sacks. They're like 98th in turnovers, but they're 13th in the pass game in the country. And so I definitely think Daniel Jackson is going to be at the top of their priority list on who to slow down. And Max Brosmer, I do think he'll have a good game. Hopefully he does not have 2 turnovers like he did last game. That definitely shot us in the foot a little bit, but I do trust in Max Brosmer. But I think this game's X factor and key player is going to be Darius Taylor and Marcus Major. I think they want to run the heck out of the football, and I'm thinking that's what we're going to see. So I have less than 100 yards for Daniel Jackson, but in tandem with that, you said Max Brosmer, he's going to have a big game. How many pass yards do you think Max has?
I think he's going to have, I don't think it's going to be a 400-yard game. That's not what I mean. I do think he's going to be super efficient with it, and that's what I was kind of talking about too. Like turnovers, like he's going to clean that up. as long as PJ still trusts him, like, don't lose that faith. That would be insane. But we don't need like the Ethan treatment of hey, let's not draw as many things up. But I would say give me 275 yards.
Ooh. All right, you got 275. I'm going to go with 200 on the dot. I think he's going to get 200 flat. And so we'll see what happens there. But overall, who wins the battle of the rush yards between these running back rooms? Is it Wisconsin? Is it Minnesota? Last week, I took Penn State. You took Minnesota, and Penn State ended up pulling it off by 10 yards. So super close. I think this one could be close as well. What are you thinking, Wisconsin or Minnesota for the more rushing yards across the room?
This is going to be a close one, and I'm going to go Minnesota strictly based on I really think our defense is better. I know we've had some games, but I think our defense is a little more sound, and so I'm thinking that Minnesota will win it. Maybe not by much because Big Ten matchup, ground and pound.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Minnesota. Like I said, Wisconsin's 91st against the run. Minnesota's 30th, believe it or not, against the run right now. But I just think that Minnesota's really going to lean into the ground game. But I also think Tawi Walker is going to be a very important player for them. So I think it will be close, but I'm leaning Minnesota. Now, who do you have for who scores the first touchdown? We're going to do 2 picks on this one. You can take the first pick.
If I'm going first, I'm going Darius Taylor. I'm going to just take him off the board because that's statistically going to get me this win.
Well, I see your Darius Taylor, and I match you with a Marcus Major who got the first one last game, stole it from Darius Taylor. So who is your second pick?
I want Max a rushing touchdown.
All right. I feel it. It's not going to happen, but I'm going to take
it could.
Jamison Gears. I'm going to take Jamison Gears.
As soon as Max came out of my head, or out of my mouth, I literally was like, tight end.
Look, Jamison Gears has had some drops on the year, though, especially last game. He had a big one. He made up for it on the trick play. But hopefully he's shaking that off and he's getting the confidence back. But he's had a couple touchdown looks this season, so I'm feeling pretty good about that one. All right, lastly, on the statistics, before we get to the players of the game, who leads in tackles this week?
Man, everything I've taken is pretty chalk so far. And I'm just going to continue with Cody Lindenberg. So
I feel it.
Between him and Maverick. So
look, I'm going to go with the guy who gave Cody a run for his money in this last week. Cody led the team with 14 tackles. This guy had 13 right behind him. That's the boy Coy. Coy Wonder is going to lead the team in tackles this week. I feel it in my heart and soul. Coy Parrish leading and tackles for his last regular season game. Now, who do you got as your offensive breakout player? I will be the defensive breakout player to lead, but who is your offensive player of the game?
Offensive player. Oh, I want to go Max, but you've talked me into this run game. Okay, it's Darius Taylor. Darius Taylor, Axe game Darius.
I'm going to go. Man, I really just want to. I'm going to go with Marcus Major. And the reason I'm going to, normally I would like pivot and I'd go Daniel Jackson or something like that. But I am going to go with Marcus Major because it seems like Darius Taylor has been a little hindered by maybe injuries, or the Gophers are just trying to play it safe, or I don't know what's going on there. But his looks, his feel has been a little bit different these last 2 games. And I think the Gophers are going to need to run the ball, which means Marcus Major is going to be involved in some capacity if Darius Taylor isn't 100%. So I'm going to go with Marcus Major on this one. Defensively, on my side, I am tempted to go with Cody Lindenberg, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with Justin Wally. He started his career off with a massive interception against Wisconsin in his freshman year. I think he's going to wrap up his senior year with a pick against Wisconsin, maybe for 6 to have a big game.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of go. Give me the D line some love. Ja Joyner, forced fumble or 2.
Ooh, or 2. I'm gonna say maybe 1.
Maybe one
in there with you.
Yes, there we go. Maybe just causing game wrecker, havoc.
All right, the moment of truth. What is your final score prediction for this one?
Now, this has been the toughest thing. I've been thinking about it all day because I want it to be. I'm picturing a slugfest. I'm picturing low scoring game, run. But also, this is a different Gophers team. I'm going to say 28-14 Minnesota.
Bro, this is crazy. So I wrote my score down ahead of time. I have it 28-17 Minnesota. So we are right there, step for step. We're gonna see. Hopefully that means we're locking step, and that's actually gonna be close to what it is. That'd be dirty. And that would mean every single person who hears this podcast needs to go over and follow our new one because we have the crystal ball. We got the winning lottery ticket, and you need to come get that information.
We know ball. We know ball.
Yes, we know ball. We're going to wrap up today's show with our 3 normal questions, concerns, confidence, and unsung hero. But I've got 2 more to wrap up our final Locked On Golden Gophers show here at Locked On Golden Gophers. That's what's coming up next. All right, Gophers fans, we are back, and we're headed to wrap up our talk against the predictions with the Gophers versus the Badgers, the battle for the axe. And I need to know, what is your biggest concern for this game?
My biggest concern is also not going to be a numbers thing because I don't have the numbers. But it's a mentality thing. Okay, so like, do you remember? I just remember like when Brev first got there. It felt like Minnesota was a little brother. Now, obviously, in the last like 5-6 years, how many times has the Axe gone back and forth? Like twice, 3 times? You know, like it's been a lot more even. Mm-hmm. Do you think Wisconsin still has the big brother mentality going into it this year?
I think their fans like to claim so, but like, I don't know if the program itself really.
That's what I couldn't think about that because it feels like if you think about Minnesota, Wisconsin, it feels like it's all like out of the last maybe 20, 30 years, it's been heavy Wisconsin, but it doesn't feel like that on paper anymore. And
yeah,
so
I mean, since PJ came to town, I think he's 3-4 right now. It was 3-3 last year, and I think they broke the split last year, so it's 3-4. So he's looking to even it up again this year.
Yeah, so I kind of like that. So I mean, that would be my biggest concern is a mentality game with these guys going into it still having that mind state, and maybe they don't at all, which they probably don't. But that would be my issue is like Wisconsin goes in and it's like, hey, this is Minnesota. It's fine. So that would be my concern.
My biggest concern is turnovers in this one. I feel like the Rutgers game, we had 1 turnover, but it ended up costing us the game. In the Penn State game, we lost the turnover battle 2-0, and it definitely put us behind the 8 ball in a game we could have upset. So I think if Minnesota keeps on struggling with the turnover battle, that could be the downfall of this team, and I'm hoping they don't make it 3 straight on that front. Now, on the flip side, I want to talk about confidence. What gives you confidence in this game?
I like the way, I don't know. It's that offensive play calling still. I can't go back. I obviously there were some doy ones that we threw in last week, but it just seems so much more aggressive. And I think going into a Big Ten matchup with a little bit different of mindset than you have for the last 4 years, I think it's really going to throw Wisconsin for a loop.
For sure. My biggest confidence is actually Wisconsin's quarterback, bro. Wisconsin's quarterback has been booty cheeks. He is no bueno. And this dude, he has started every game since the Alabama game. Tyler Van Dyke went down in the Alabama game. He came in. He probably had his best game of the season so far against Alabama. And then every game since that, he has had 1 or 2 interceptions in every single game. And the Gophers are a top 15 team in turnovers gained. Like, bro, they should be salivating at this game, salivating at the opportunities they're going to have to make some huge game flipping plays on defense. And I am excited and confident that they're going to at least get 1 in this one.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it as bluntly, but not good. It has not been good play since that game. I was going to say, I thought he got hurt at one point too. And so I didn't know if they were on their 3rd or 2nd string. So
I mean, they might be better off trying out the 3rd string. It's like a 4-star true freshman from Texas, but they're like, no, let's run the other kid who struggled a bit last year, is still struggling this year. But yo, keep going. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's broke, and we're still not gonna fix it. All right, the final thing is, who is the unsung hero in this game? I've got 2 more questions for you after this, but who is your unsung hero?
Let's just keep rolling with Unsung. Offensive line. Offensive line. I've said it before. What if we just have a dominant performance? Like, we can do whatever we want because that offensive line holds up.
All right, my unsung hero, I'm going to say somebody that's young that maybe puts their name in the conversation for, look, I'm going to be that guy next year. And the first player that comes to mind for me is Jackson Howard. His snaps have been a little inconsistent, but he's been getting on the field. I think in this one, he has a moment where he's like, boom, here I am. Here's a sack. Here's a strip fumble or something, a tackle for loss or something where he's like, yeah, I'll be here next year. See you then, Badgers fans. So I think Jackson Howard's going to be the unsung hero in this one. Now, completely moving beyond the Wisconsin game, because regardless of what happens in this game, the Gophers are bowl bound, and we'll be covering that on the new show. So definitely go find the Gopher Broke podcast here on YouTube so you can make sure to keep up with your boy Tristyn and I. But I want to know what bowl you would rather see. Would you rather see the Gophers go somewhere warm, somewhere nice, beautiful, maybe a place where you could potentially travel to? Or would you rather see them against the best possible opponent that they could play, the highest rated player or team that maybe doesn't make the playoffs that the Gophers could face? Which one would you rather see?
I would much, much, much rather go with the opponent. I mean, the way we play in bowl games is awesome. I don't know what it is about the Gophers, but we just match up against teams. Like, what was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we played Auburn. I mean, Auburn had what?
Yep.
What did they have, like 7 wins, 8 wins that year? Nothing.
No. Auburn was really good that year. Auburn was like right on the verge, because that was the year the Gophers were 11-2.
Yeah, we were so good.
So overall, I think Auburn was like right there with them too. Like they're on the verge of getting into one of those major bowls. So that was a big one.
And we played very well against them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just bowl bias because I've never watched the Gophers lose in a bowl game, but I would definitely go with the opponent. I mean, it's tough going to the cold. I don't know. I don't want to watch the Bad Boy Mowers Bowl again, but because I've just heard it's horrible to watch football in Yankee Stadium.
Right.
But I would definitely take the opponent over the weather.
All right. I feel you. I think I'm similar. And I would also like to see the better opponent, because people always are like, oh, the Gophers are no good, or, oh, they're like a crappy team, or, oh, whatever. Like nobody pays attention to the Gophers. But if the Gophers come out and then they play a Penn State and they lose by 1, I want them to be like, oh, well, they still lost to Penn State. All right, bro, bet. Like, we'll see you in the bowl game. Keep that same mentality. Keep that same energy. And we'll see you at the end. And when we have that 8-0 bowl game streak, you heard me? Like, that's how I'm feeling with this one.
Yeah, I totally agree. God, it's a great feeling when you do get a new fan base who has never seen you before and just thinks that it's just we're a mid Big Ten team. Right. We're like, no, like this is competitive football in the Big Ten. Like,
it's just like all the folks out there who are like, oh, the Big Ten West, all those teams are going to be garbage this year because there's no more Big Ten West, and that was all just weak, slim pickings. And now the Gophers, Iowa, Illinois, all those teams are like right behind the top 4. They're in the tier right behind them.
Yeah.
But I was told they were going to be bottom dwellers. I was told they were going to be just garbage, and they're like, yo, hold my beer. Here we go. Like,
it's awesome. Here. It's awesome. It is so fun. It's mostly, God, it would be great to play an SEC team.
Right.
SEC fans just, it's good. It's good football, but I'm just saying.
Hear me on this. This is my last thing. We're going to wrap the show up with this. If we have to have a mediocre, not bad, but not great bowl game, I want the Dukes of Mayo Bowl, because when the Gophers take the dub, I want the Gatorade tub of mayo just dumped all over Coach Fleck. I need it. We need it on the wall in his office. We need that moment of just all of the mayo being dumped on Coach Fleck. Sign me up.
I love that. I love that.
All right, folks. Well, I appreciate y'all for listening. Thank you for tapping in with us. This is 3 football seasons with Tristyn Spann-Ford and myself. We're not going far. Hopefully you'll come with us, but regardless, be sure to follow here at Locked On Golden Gophers where I'm hoping they'll have a great new host for you. Keep the daily content going. I can't keep up with daily, but I will keep up with Gophers content over at the Gopher Broke podcast. Regardless, I thank Locked On for all of the time and the opportunity that they've given me. And I appreciate always being able to chat Gophers football with my guy, Tristyn Spann-Ford, here at Locked On Golden Gophers. Any final words for the fans?
No, this has been so much fun, and I can't wait to keep it going. I mean, Locked On probably doesn't even know that I'm here. they're going to find that out soon, probably.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be unfortunate.
We'll find out, and it'll be too late for that. But we're headed out. We'll see you on a different platform next time. Hopefully, we'll see you there. But regardless, keep on following each and every day here at Locked On Golden Gophers. Until next time, roll the boat, Sky, my Go Gophers, as always. And please don't forget to hit subscribe.